Welcome to the Jessica Papineau Show, living aligned, styled with purpose. The podcast where transformation begins and your next level life is waiting. I am Jessica Papineau, founder of CSJ Styling, and I believe that when you align how you present yourself with who you truly are, magic happens. Your confidence expands, opportunities open, and you step into the life you were meant to live, not just with style, but with intention and purpose. But here's the truth. Most women don't even realize what's holding them back. They feel stuck, second-guessing themselves, waiting for permission to shine. I've been there. I've seen what happens when women stop playing small and embrace their full potential. That's why I do what I do, because I know that transformation isn't just about clothes. It's about stepping into your power, owning your presence, and feeling completely aligned with the woman you're becoming. And that's exactly what this podcast is here to help you do. Each week, I'll be your guide, sharing insights, strategies, and mindset shifts that unlock the confidence you've been craving. You will hear from powerhouse women who transform their lives, practical steps to elevate your presence, and the little-known secrets to showing up fully everywhere you go. Hello and welcome back to the Jessica Papineau Show, living aligned, styled with purpose. Today, I have a very, very special guest in the house. In fact, I didn't even realize we were talking so much before going live with this podcast. We lost track of time. And I just want to say, welcome, Amberly Lago. I am just so happy that you're here today.
Oh my goodness. I love you. Thank you so much for having me on. I know that could have been a whole other podcast episode that we recorded.
I know when I was
Recording before the record button goes. It's like
I know, and I wasn't recording. Well, I'm going to introduce you properly. I know many of those that are listening know exactly who you are. I mean, those that know me typically do know you because I shout your name from the rooftops often,
Aww.
and I know we know a lot of the same people. And but I'm gonna still give your little bio here. So Amberly Lago is a TEDx speaker. She's a coach. She's a podcast host of the Amberly Lago Show, and she's a best-selling author. Amberly is most passionate about speaking on resilience, grit, overcoming adversity, authentic leadership, joy as strategy, and turning pain into purpose. She also loves discussing her sobriety journey, living with CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome, mindset shifts, human connection, and how entrepreneurs and leaders can build a life and business rooted in purpose, impact, and authenticity. And there's so much more I could say about you, Amberly, but I know I shared I was going to tell you how I first came across you and your name and what happened when I listened to the first podcast I ever heard you on.
Oh, tell me.
Ed Milet. So, I mean, I love Ed Milet. I had been listening to him for a long time. And I literally remember the day that I heard your voice on that podcast. And this happens to me sometimes. It's only with certain people. It's like certain people that I know that I need to know. I want to, like a familiarity. That's what I feel sometimes. You know, you hear somebody's voice and I felt that way actually with Christina Deering on your podcast. It was like, I heard the voice and I was like, wait, there's something, I feel something. And you told your story, and we'll get into your story for sure. I heard your story, and when you shared the resilience that you had and you shared the grit, and I got your book immediately as soon as I heard that podcast. I resonated with it so much, and this is how it made me feel. Cause I know, like people tell you all the time, like, Amberly, you changed my life. But literally when I heard you, it made me feel not alone.
Oh.
It made me feel not alone because I had for many years of my life, thought that, I had to do everything on my own. And I knew I had a lot of setbacks in my
Mm.
life, a lot of things that had happened in my childhood. And, I had to fight for everything I've ever had. And I listened to your story. And okay, so there's one quote that I like love. I think it was in Grit and Grace. I think it was in that book. And it was your granddaddy.
Oh,
And I heard that, and you talked about it on Ed Milet's podcast, and I don't want to botch it, so I'm gonna say it here.
was it the one you've got a shovel in your hand?
Yeah,
You can lean on it and pray for a hole or start digging?
yeah. But I heard that, and like it like landed, like I felt it in my body when you said
Wow.
that.
Well, it's interesting. When I was so excited to be on Ed's show, and the week before, I had gone to Costa Rica for a pretty radical treatment for complex regional pain syndrome. And when I was in Costa Rica, Ed knew I was there and he texted me and he's like, "Are you going to be okay to come or do you need to postpone?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'm going to be good. I will be there." And I was expecting to have this treatment and come out feeling superhuman and ended up back in a wheelchair. I couldn't even walk. I mean, I came out of the anesthesia just screaming in pain, couldn't walk, had to be wheeled to the gate at the airport, had to call my husband when I got back to Texas and say, I need you to pick me up. I can't walk.
Yeah.
Which he was really worried about me going to do this treatment anyway. So anyway, I get out, I get home, and I've got my Canadian crutches at home that I have for those days where it's hard to walk. But this was, I literally couldn't put any weight on my leg at all. And so I was like, and I was completely bruised up. And I was like, well, I am still going to Florida. I am flying to Florida to go do this podcast. I don't care if it's not the way I wanted to show up, but if I have to crawl into that studio, I will crawl into that studio. So having to be on crutches and manage like figuring out how to carry a suitcase, it's tough. Let me tell you, it's hard to travel. My flight was delayed. Anyway, I get there. I get to our friend, Catherine's house. I was staying with Catherine and John and get to their house at like midnight. I'm on crutches. And I was going to interview on Ed's podcast the next morning. And I just prayed about it before I went to bed. And the next morning, it makes me want to cry just thinking about this. I swung my legs over the bed. And I sat there for a minute and I stood up and I could stand. And so I was able to walk. And I'm just emotional because, man, I guess I get emotional when I'm with people that I love and I feel safe with. And I always feel safe and love you so much.
Oh,
And I forget that we're recording. But anyway, I was able to walk. And so I got to walk into his recording studio. And the good thing was, I was his first guest in his new studio that was at his house. And the lights were all wrong. The like cameras were messed up, which was such a blessing because I got to like call my studio in Dallas and see what lights they used. And I felt like I was helping. And I spent hours before we even, I don't know, I spent like all afternoon there and got to like hang out with his wife a little bit and see his dogs. And it was such a blessing. And it was just like to remember that, yeah, times get hard, but if you just keep pushing through and your job is to do your best, then there's so many blessings. I always say your hard work puts you where your blessings can find you. And that was such a blessing that day to get to have that time with him. But also, like, from that podcast interview, that's how I met you. There are so many women that I coach and that are in my mastermind that they heard that podcast and reached out to me from one. That's the power of one podcast. But of course, that's Ed Milet's
I
podcast.
love that was perfectly said. You know what I think it goes to show is that, and this is something Patrice Washington, I got this from her when we were in Kauai. And, it's so interesting. Like, you can go to events, you can go to these different things, but sometimes it's just one thing that like
Mhm.
lands with you and you take that with you forever and it changes you. And one thing that she said, because I was so worried about, I felt like I needed a coach to help me be a speaker, right? And she was on stage and she was talking about how people think she just wings it. She just wings it when she goes on stage because she doesn't do the super planning. And she said, I don't know if you remember this. She said, I don't wing it. I just have a very deep well. And how she prays before she goes on stage. And you were talking about how you prayed. And it's like, it's not about the performance. It's not like, oh, like I've been sick and I got to go do this and now I got to perform and be somebody different. It's like, no, that's not it at all. It's when you lean in and you just pray and you say, like, am I supposed to be here? Yes, I am. Just allow what is meant to happen and what is meant to come through. Just hand it over and just let it happen. And it's just
Mhm.
a matter of showing up. And that's what you did. That is exactly what you did. And that's why everything worked out exactly as it was meant to work out.
Well, thank you. I just think that, yeah, just showing up and doing your best. I'm blessed to have an amazing sponsor. I've got sober in 2016 and I've had the same sponsor and she's amazing. And she always says like I can be really hard on myself and she'll always say, well, do you feel like you did your best? And so I always ask myself that question, do I feel like I did my best? And if I can say yes, then good. That's all all you can hope for and pray for is just to do your best. But like you said, to show up, not to perform, but to be authentically you. And it wasn't even about me. Sure, I wanted to be able to walk in there and I did, but it was almost like God was like, well, this isn't about how you look or any of that. This is about showing up and the message that you can share.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll take it. I don't care if I have to crawl in there. I don't care if I'm on crutches, whatever. I don't care if I've got bruises all over me.
Yeah.
I'm going to show up. And it was almost like it was like, "Okay, you trusted me, you can
Yeah.
walk." I don't know, that may sound kinda crazy, but
No, it doesn't sound crazy. It doesn't sound crazy at all. I know that those that are listening, many people know your story that are listening to this podcast, but there definitely are some that don't. And can you share, Amberly, what happened in 2010? We want to know the story. What happened in 2010, and as a result, how did your life completely shift?
yeah, well, my life was so different in 2010. I mean, I went from, being an athlete my whole life, being a professional dancer, that's why I moved to Los Angeles and did that for years, and then in the fitness industry for 26 years, so my whole life was about being active. I was doing infomercials sponsored by Nike, doing, fitness videos. That was back in the day. And that was back before even I had social media. That was and
Yeah.
my business just was flourishing all through word of mouth, pretty much. And it was just so different. And coming home from work, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version 'cause I wanna just add as much value to your listeners as I can about the lessons I've learned from this, but I was coming home from work, and it was a holiday weekend. Actually, 16 years ago, this just a few days ago was when the accident happened. It was right before the holiday weekend. And so I think also it's another reason why I get a little emotional around this time because
Yeah.
it's just like I feel like I had a chance to live again because I almost died. I was coming home from work on my motorcycle when I got hit by an SUV. I was T-boned and thrown 30 feet. And I was sliding across the asphalt. And when I came to a stop, I looked down at my leg and it was completely just crumbled into pieces. And it's crazy to look down at your own body and see it completely disfigured. And there was blood everywhere. And I didn't know it at the time, but it was because my femoral artery was severed. And I got rushed to the hospital and it was chaotic. They had to put me in induced coma because I had lost so much blood that my vital organs were shutting down and they couldn't control the pain. And when I woke up from a coma, the first thing I learned was, they said, "I'm so sorry. Your leg is like a war wound. There's just nothing we can do for you. We need to amputate. You only have a 1% chance of even saving it." And in that moment, the only thing I thought about was the 1% chance, and I was like, "So you're saying there's a chance? Then I wanna find a doctor who's willing to take that chance with me." And it took, a lot of prayer, it took an act of God, a lot of calling in favors, and we got transferred to a different hospital, which was excruciatingly painful waiting, and there was a time period because if you wait too long and the bone starts to die in the leg, then they for sure have to amputate. But not only that, they were worried about infection being transferred from one hospital to another. So there was a lot that went into getting transferred. And then Dr. Wiss, I'll never forget, it was a Sunday night. He was supposed to come see me on a Monday. He was away for some work trip, and it was a Sunday night. And I'm in the hospital room by myself, and I see this guy walk in the room, and he's got on a khaki suit. He wasn't dressed like a doctor, and he just had a name tag on that said D. Wiss. And I looked up at him, and I just grabbed his arm, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I said, "You're the man who's gonna save my leg." And he said, "Well, I don't know. We're gonna see what we can do. First thing we're gonna do is tomorrow we're gonna go in there and just clean everything up." And I was like, "Okay." Yeah, like, I was just like he was probably like, "Oh gosh, who is this crazy lady?" You know? But man, it took 34 surgeries and months in the hospital, and Dr. Wiss is in my first book, True Grit and Grace. I love this man. He never gave up on me. When I broke the titanium in my leg, about 8 months after I got out of the hospital. I think it was about 8 months. Yeah, it was like in October, and he had to go in and take the broken pieces of titanium out and replace the titanium with a steel rod, and it was a 12-hour surgery
Oh
and then
my
another 4-hour surgery to finish closing things up, and he never gave up on me. He could have gone like, "Psh, this is too much. This is too hard." But he really knew how hard I was fighting to keep it, and so he fought. We were just, like, such a good team. He's in my book, and then I'm in his book. He wrote a book,
oh
and
my
because I
goodness.
was one of the most difficult cases he had ever worked on, and I'm actually gonna interview him on my podcast, and so I'm, like, starstruck and nervous and all the
Um,
things, but excited at the same time, and so, yeah, it's been a journey, and it completely changed my life to be able to walk again when I was told I'd never walk again. I was diagnosed as a result of this with CRPS, which is complex regional pain syndrome. It's ranked highest on the pain scale. There's no known cure, and so there are days when I still limp and people are like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, "Hadn't it been a long time since you had your last surgery?" And I was like, "They don't understand that this nerve disease, I can have a flare up that will just take me down." And And it's not that I've gotten through all these things and now everything's great, and, I still struggle with the pain on some days. I don't wanna say I struggle every day, but most days, because I don't wanna own it. I don't wanna own the pain, but I will say it's a journey, and right before that Brooke and Patrice and I did this retreat in Kauai, and right before that, I'd had a spinal cord stimulator and had a really bad reaction,
Yeah.
and
Remember that.
my husband was like, "You can't go to Kauai." And I was like, "Oh, I am gonna go to Kauai. I am going to be better." Like, and I've just been determined to continue to live the best life I can despite ups and downs and pain and setbacks. But, I've been knocked down and I get back up. I've fallen flat on my face, literally fallen on my face from this stupid nerve disease, but I
Yeah.
always get back up, and I think that's why I started this whole unstoppable movement, and unstoppable isn't about never being stopped or never falling or failing. It's about getting back up and keep going.
Well, even just, I mean, it's just such an incredible story, Amberly, but even the fact that people just watching you or just even hearing your story, it just gives people hope that they can have a better life too. That they have a decision they can make in any circumstance that they're in.
Mhm.
And they have a decision that they can choose themselves and they can do the work, put the work in and have the grit and pick up that shovel and start digging, you know? And the one I remember when I listened to your story, how this word kept coming in my mind, and it was like the word was responsibility. It's like I could see that you felt like you had a responsibility to share this with everybody, that you can get through hard things. Like I did it. You can too. And it's something that stays with me every day, even when I speak, because I get nervous. I get super nervous speaking. I think most everybody does, but I think about, well, it's a responsibility to share that with other people because so many people don't realize what they're actually capable of until
Yeah.
they hear your story and they go, "Oh my gosh, how was she able to do that?" I have created something really special for you, my Power Presence Index. It's a quick quiz designed to help you uncover the 6 elements shaping your unique presence. And trust me, the insights are transformational. In just a few minutes, you'll discover exactly how to align your style with your goals so that you can show up powerfully, speak with confidence, and truly be seen. This is my gift to you because confidence doesn't start in your closet. It starts with clarity. Get your personal power presence index now at csjstyling.com/power and begin your journey to becoming truly unstoppable.
Well, and it's never been about me. It's been
Yeah.
like, even when I wrote my first book, True Grit and Grace, I was inspired to write that again, despite everybody saying, "You're crazy, you can't write a book." And at the time, I can understand why they would say that. I'd never written a book. I don't have a college education. I didn't even own a computer. But I had a desire and a passion, and I was gonna do it no matter what, because I thought, if this everything I went through and all the pain, if that can help one person, if I can show them how I got through some really big challenges. I mean, we had $2.9 million worth of medical expenses. We had a lien on our house. I had lost my career, my looks, my hope, my confidence, everything. And if I can start with nothing and work my way back up to building not just my career, but my self-esteem, my self-love, my self-worth, everything. If I can do that and I can share how I did it and help one person, then it will give the pain that I experienced, it'll give it purpose. And so I feel like my pain pushed me until my purpose pulled me. And that's why I wrote the first book. And I was actually surprised that more than one people read it. Yeah, I think my husband was too, you know, but even when I was flying to go do the interview with Ed, it wasn't about, yes, I wanted to hang out with Ed. I love him.
Yeah.
But it was about how can I help? How can I be of service? How can I show others that they have a choice? That what your circumstances don't define you, but your resiliency does. Your what has been taken away doesn't define you. What you do with what's left does.
Yeah. Amberly, what do you feel? Where did that resilience come from? Where
Um,
where was it? It was in you. It just came right out.
well, no,
No circumstance.
I think growing up, I mean, you certainly did not have the easiest childhood by any means, and I certainly did not either. And that's tough as a mom today because I want to give my kids everything I didn't have. And my mom and dad did the best they could with what they had. But,
Yeah.
if I wanted something as a kid, I had to work for it. Like when I was a kid, I had to buy my own car. I didn't have parents that were gonna drive out to California with me and get me set up, and, I had a partial scholarship to UCLA. My dream was to be a dancer. I worked 4 jobs in high school to save up $1,200 and packed up my little Suzuki Samurai that I paid for and drove across, all the way from Texas to California. I guess ignorance is bliss. I didn't know to be scared. I was just had a big dream of being a dancer. And within the first 2 weeks that I got to California, I got 2 different jobs at 2 different studios and 2 different jobs at 2 different restaurants waitressing, because it was up to me to keep a roof over my head. And so I knew whatever I wanted, it was up to me. I think that being an athlete helped with the mindset for that. I think being a dancer
Yeah.
helped with the mindset of that. Like if we wanted something, we had to push through, we had to work hard for it. And so I think I learned a lot about resilience from how I was raised, being an athlete, being a dancer. But I will tell you that I had to learn a lot more after my accident, because all I knew was how to push through and work harder and grit it out. What
Yes.
I didn't realize, and the reason it's called True Grit and Grace, is my connection with God was strengthened. I've always had a connection with God, but my connection with God was strengthened. I could not do anything. I wouldn't be where I am today without God's grace.
Yeah.
And I thought that resilience was all about gritting it out, and I felt like I had to do it all alone. It was up to me. And what I learned is grit without connection is just resistance. It's hitting burnout, it's hitting roadblocks or rock bottom. And grit with connection is where you truly find resilience.
So would you say then that it was once you really connected with God that that everything shifted in terms of that, giving yourself that grace and being able to persevere?
No, I think it was being so desperate and in such a low place in my life where I really was imagining for my family. I was like, my husband could find a better wife. He doesn't deserve this. My kids could find another mom.
Yeah.
In that moment, it was really asking for help, getting on my knees and praying. And I feel like that gave me the courage to reach out and make a phone call and then admit. I
Yeah.
think it's really taking a good hard look at your life and being radically honest with yourself and admitting that where you are and accepting where you are, because once you accept where you are and who you are, then you can ask for help and you can start to move in the right direction. And so, yes, with God gives me, encourages me, gives me strength,
Yeah.
gives me serenity, but it also helped me, encouraged me to reach out for help for someone else. And that's a thing, there's so many people out there now that are like, I'm a self-made billionaire, or I'm a self-made whatever it is. And
Yeah.
I don't believe in that. I mean, I work my butt off, don't get me wrong, and I have worked hard and I've paid a lot. My husband always says, "You have paid your dues," But if I didn't have, people like you in my life, if I didn't have mentors along the way, that's why I so strongly believe in having a mentor, hiring a coach, getting a therapist, get a sponsor, get involved in a mastermind, whatever it is, but find the right people who
Yes.
you feel in alignment with, like you connect with them on a deep level.
Yeah.
There's a trust, you feel their heart, you listen to your gut, and this person is my person.
Well, Amberly, that is just one of the things that I love so much about you is how you connect to other women and how you connect amazing women to other amazing women. And the way that you give, and I have always felt this from you, the way that you give is without expecting anything in return. And you can feel the difference when someone is giving in that way to you, that you know what it's like to need that support. You know what it's like to really desire to have opportunities and doors open and all these things. And so you're always there to support other people. And
As are you.
well, and I'm sure, and I know that's probably why I felt so called to be in your world. We're very similar in that regard, but that difference is definitely felt. And I know we're getting close to wrapping up here, but you know, what do you, because you give in that way, because you learned how to build your own community of people to support you, and now you pay it forward, and you pay it forward in such a big way. How do you navigate that? Because there are so many people that love you, that that want support from you. How do you navigate giving without losing, filling your own cup up?
Well, thank you, and we were talking a little bit about this before we started recording, and I think it's important to have people in your life that have your back, and my husband is really good. He works with me now. He's got
Oh, that's
he's got his own credit
wonderful.
card. He's got his company credit card and everything. His official title is BS detector. But, no, but seriously, he is really good. I'm like, "How are you so good?" He's like, he's used to be a cop. He's like, "My life depended on it." Like, he is so good. And he can just scope out a room. He can, like, see somebody online, and he knows, and he will tell me, and he will reel me back in, because and also on my team, I have Malik on my team who he will, like, "Amberly, no, I know you love to give, but you gotta stop. You gotta stop. We gotta cut it off. You're in the red. You can't," because I can understand, like, where Oprah felt like, "And you win a car, and you get a card," because it feels so good to give, I love to give, but there comes a time where you have to really know what's most important and what your values are and what you're aligned with, and that helps you be more discerning on your yeses. And this year, I've gotten a lot more discerning. And, at first I was taught when I first started, you say yes to everything. And so I was, and there comes a time between there's nothing left in the tank. Like you have to have a place to fill up your cup. And so I think it's important to have your tight circle, those people that you love and trust around you that you can confide in, family that are like Johnny, who's got my back, a team that you love and trust, who they're looking for your, they want what's best for you. Because sometimes I don't know about you, but I can't always see it. I just kind of will be I'm just giving, 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 giving. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I've been given so much. I haven't even taken care of like what is important for my business to keep running. And so this year is actually, I've made a lot of mistakes. And so this is the first time I'm admitting this, but it's the first time I've really stopped and slowed down and gone, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, I cleaning house and pausing on some things and more discerning and saying a no to a lot. I've even said no to some speaking opportunities just because I am really valuing time. And I know that health is wealth, and I've struggled a lot in the last year with my health. And if I'm not healthy, I feel like our impact is only as strong as we are healthy. So, first and foremost is taking care of my health so I can help others, and just really knowing what the most important things are. And so that's why I got sticky notes all over my desk.
I love this. And I just want to mirror something to you because you have an incredible mastermind of women that you have poured into, and you attract the most beautiful, incredible people that have a message, that have, they have that grit in them. And you teach them with your methodologies and all that you've learned how to show up. You've taught them. They pour into other people. And one thing I just really want to mirror back to you, Amberly, is that in all that you've built, you have created, you're giving more with just sitting here today because you have poured into other people that have done something with the lessons that you've learned, with the challenges that you've had, and have shown other women that they can go out and impact. And I see the trickle down effect. I see these
Oh,
other
thank
women
you.
that you have poured into and done this with and for, and they are going out there and shining their light for other people to feel. And so I hope that that gives you a little more permission to kind of fill up your own cup, because in the beginning of, starting a business or starting a movement, really, it's like the movement of joy. And I have my little joy right here,
Oh.
and I keep it with me. I also keep the serenity prayer that I got from Unstoppable. It's right in front of me, and I read it sometimes before I
Well,
get on a
look,
call or if I'm stressed.
I have mine on my desk
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, but
And I have a collection of frogs all over my desk too. People are starting to,
oh, well,
well, Ruby made me this frog
oh, well, that is so
because
cute.
frogs remind me fully rely on God. And
Yeah.
so now I'm getting people that are sending me frogs. And so I have them little frogs all over my office. It's the cutest thing.
Oh, that's so sweet. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time today, Amberly. And I know you've got some big things coming up. You have a retreat
Yeah,
coming
I
up.
hope you can come. I'm
I hope I
crossing
can
my
come
fingers that you
too.
can just stop by, Jessica, and bless us with your presence. Yeah, the retreat. I'm excited. I'm really excited. You know something's right when you are just so excited about it, and I had to stop myself before my annual summit because all I wanted to do, I was planning the retreat, and I'm like, "No, I can't do that right now. I have to focus on the event." But I've been focusing on this retreat, which is September 4th through the 7th in Jacksonville, Florida. So it's not just learning. I mean, I've got guest speakers that are already lined up to come and pour into the group, but branding, photo shoot, but it's not about that. It's really about that connection.
Yeah.
And I really feel like yes, for learning, but it's the collaborations and it's the fun. 'Cause you know what? When you can be out, and I don't know about you, but I am energized. I spark creativity when I'm at the ocean. So it's not just about learning and sitting there in a room all day taking notes, and
Yeah.
definitely that. We've got a workbook planned for it, but it's about having fun together and sharing ideas. And I feel like when you can do that and get in a room of women who are passionate and just faith-filled and loving and really supportive of other women, you just never know what will happen next. And so I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
Well, I feel that, like, when you're sharing this and I'm feeling the passion and I'm like, "Amberly, you go lean in, you have some more fun. You deserve to reap all the rewards of all the pouring in that you have done for all these years." And, and let some other people kinda share that joy that you have bestowed onto them and allow the creativity to be sparked. I mean, that is really, like, really remembering playing like a child, and going and doing things that are fun. I believe that's what God wants us to do, is to have some fun.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I
I
love
mean,
that.
we getting some sunshine
Yeah.
and fresh air and
Yeah.
stepping away from, your calendar or your computer or anything for just a bit. And those moments, and that's what's been the blessing also with having my cutest little dog in the world, Nugget, is she forces me. She's been scratching on the door. I hope you have not been able to hear it.
Oh, like,
But she gets me to stop and go outside and go take her for walks, and it has been the biggest blessing. And I mean, sometimes I do take my phone, and most time I'm videoing her because she's so cute, but I try not to even take my phone. I try to just go and gaze out into nature. Like, I look at when the sun comes up. I go out after dinner and look at when the sun's going down. And it just brings you so much peace. It moves your mood when you can move your body. And so we're definitely going to have that at the retreat. I've got a healer who's coming that's going to do myofascia release and healing ceremony and oil. I'm like, I don't even know about all of it, but I'm like, sign me up. And then you know what else? I just thought of this. You know what I'm going to do?
what?
So, I was in the fitness industry for 26 years.
Yes.
I'm gonna bring back, and I used to teach all kinds of fitness classes every week besides just personal training. I'm gonna bring it back, and we're gonna do some workouts together.
I
I
love
just came up with that right now. I forgot we're recording. I feel like we're brainstorming together. Let me write that down. No, I'm gonna
That's
do it. I'm gonna bring it
oh,
back.
that sounds so good. Well, I need some help getting my butt up back into place.
Girl, your butt is perfect. Your body is perfection.
Oh my goodness. Well, I can say
Perfection.
I can say the same about you, but thank you. Thank you.
No,
So,
thank you.
I just appreciate so much you coming on today. How can people find you? I know a
Oh,
lot of people already know you, but those that don't know you, how do they
I
find
seriously
you?
doubt that. So you can find me at amberlylago.com. You can find all the info, like podcast books and all that stuff. But the retreat is
Yeah.
gonna be very small, and so if you're interested in that, shoot me a DM at Amberly Lago Motivation, or you can also just see some of the behind the scenes shenanigans with my daughter and Nuggy, I guess we should say Nuggy. But yeah, that's where you can find all the behind the scenes fun.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on today. And I know my listeners are just like, they probably were frantically taking notes and they're probably going to listen again to all that goodness. So,
Oh, thank you, Jessica. I love you, and
love you
I
too.
appreciate you so much. I'm wearing the vest that you picked out for me, so
Oh,
I would be sparkling. Thank you you're amazing at what you do and everything that you do, not just the way that you speak from stage, which I loved that you got on stage a couple of years ago at the Unstoppable Success Summit, but I just the way that you are and the way that you help women, the way that you do your podcast, the way that you help others and the way that you serve. It's amazing. You're amazing. And I just love you so much and I appreciate you. And thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. I love you too.
I hope today's episode sparked something in you, a shift, a realization, or even just the permission to step more boldly into the life you're meant to live. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to hit the subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling inspired, I'd love for you to leave a review. It is the best way to help more women just like you discover this show and start their own transformation. Want to dive even deeper? Connect with me. You can find me on Instagram at Jessica Papineau or head to csjstyling.com to explore how we can work together to align your style, confidence, and the vision you have for your life. Thank you for being here, for showing up and investing in yourself. Until next time, remember, you are worthy, you are powerful, and when everything about you is in alignment with your vision, you become unstoppable.